like online, because that's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, because she had like
because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air with her head stuck under the bed.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh.
Welcome to DramaDrip, where the drama never sleeps. If you're down for the mess, the secrets, and the scandal, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Let's get into it because things just got crazy out here. So get this. 50 Cent just leaked some exclusive freak-off footage that Terrence Howard apparently sent him. Yeah, you heard that right. About Diddy's wild invite-only parties, also known in the streets as the infamous Freakoffs. And now, Terrence is straight up letting it all out. The tea is boiling hot, and trust, it's messier than you ever imagined. For years, Terrence has been dropping little hints about how he was basically pushed out of the Hollywood game. Why? Because he didn't want to play into the dark behind-the-scenes stuff. He wasn't with the shady moves. But now, with Diddy being in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, folks are finally starting to see the truth unfold. And guess what? Terrence just added more names to the mix. Diddy's not alone in this twisted storyline, because Terrence had something real bold to say about Yung Miami too. Yep, he's saying she was at these freak-off parties too. But what really got people shocked is what he's claiming she was doing on camera. It's way deeper than just partying. According to Terrence, what he allegedly caught on tape is enough to make jaws drop. The situation is wild, and we're just getting started. Terrence is coming with receipts and spilling everything about Diddy, and what's even crazier, he did it without being asked. Nobody even knew he had anything to say about Diddy. But out of nowhere, he sat down for a podcast interview and unleashed it all. No warning, no filter. And when he started talking, you could tell he'd been holding this in for a minute. He said Diddy once hit him up, talking about needing help with acting. Now that's interesting, because we do know Diddy dabbles in acting, but not like that. So what was he really trying to set up? According to Terrence, it wasn't just about scripts and cameras, it was something real different. We're just scratching the surface. So look, yeah, Diddy has done a few acting gigs here and there, but let's be real. Nothing that would ever require him to call in a full-blown acting coach like Terrence Howard. It just wasn't adding up, but Terrence, being the pro he is, showed up thinking it was strictly business. He thought he was there to help someone sharpen their craft, but as soon as he walked in, the whole vibe flipped. Terrence said Diddy started acting real off, like he had other plans. And trust, it wasn't no scene rehearsal. But Terrence? He wasn't going for none of that weird energy. He shut it all the way down, fast and with zero hesitation.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
And that's not even the half of it. Allegedly, Terrence said he wasn't the only one Diddy tried to move slick on. According to him, Diddy was pulling those same tricks on every man that showed up to his parties. You heard that right, every single one. Terrence even said dudes were losing their man cards at those Diddy parties.
But when you give up your manhood I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
It ain't safe. It ain't safe out here. From the sound of it, those parties were way more than just music and drinks. It's giving shady and suspect. What's even wilder? This ain't even the first time Terrence has spoken on the dark side of the industry. He's been calling out these backroom games for years. And every time he did, it seemed like the industry hit back even harder. He said it before, he didn't just walk away from Hollywood because he was tired or roles dried up. Nope. Terrence made it very clear that he dipped because the machine tried to strip him of his manhood. Straight up! He said they punished him for not playing along. And that's when they iced him out the game. But the moment Terrence took a stand and refused to play their game, that's when things flipped on him. Suddenly, folks started calling him the difficult one, trying to paint him out like he was the problem. Classic move, right? It's the same thing we've seen happen to women in the industry. Soon as someone speaks up or refuses to stay in line, the whole machine turns on them and tries to ruin their name. So when Terrence popped up talking about retiring from acting back in December 2022, people were confused. Shocked even. Like, what? The man was still landing major roles, his fan base was solid, and there wasn't any public mess going on that would make him suddenly disappear like that. But behind the scenes, according to Terrence, it was a whole different story. He said he was getting pushed into some real uncomfortable situations, stuff that felt like they were trying to break him, trying to take his pride, his identity, his manhood. And when he refused to play along, Hollywood wasn't having it. The industry turned cold, and next thing you know, Terrence was out. Even though he came back out of retirement, you can tell he's been real careful ever since. He's watching every move now. But that hasn't stopped him from exposing what he says is the ugly truth behind the glam. Since stepping back into the spotlight, Terrence has been pulling that curtain wide open on the darker side of the entertainment world. And one thing he keeps putting on blast? The pressure he felt to put on a dress for certain scenes. And no, it wasn't for a meaningful role or a powerful story. According to him, these scenes had nothing to do with the plot. They were just random, like they were trying to clown him or make him look silly on purpose, break down his image and mess with his pride. And if that sounds familiar, that's because it is. This convo's not new. A bunch of black male actors have said the same thing, that they were pushed to wear dresses for skits or movie scenes that made zero sense. Cat Williams even said it during his sit-down with Club Shay Shay. So nah, Terrence ain't just being dramatic. He's speaking on something that a lot of people have been too scared to say out loud. Terrence didn't hold back when it came to the whole emasculation talk. He spoke up loud. He said what a lot of folks are too scared to say. This kind of pressure in Hollywood is way more common than people think. And he's not the only one waving that flag either. Cat Williams laid it out plain. There's a pattern in the industry where men are pushed to throw on dresses or act super feminine, and it's always wrapped up with a shiny offer. Like, here's a big check, just play along. But for Cat, that money wasn't worth his pride. He said he walked away from fat paychecks more than once just to keep his integrity intact. And that right there, that hit Terrence deep. As soon as Cat's interview dropped, Terrence wasted no time jumping in to speak his truth. And what he had to say flipped the whole script. Y'all remember those old headlines that tried to drag Terrence's name? Saying he got fired for having a bad attitude or being too hard to work with? That he couldn't control his temper? Yeah. Turns out, that was all cap. Terrence clapped back after Cat's interview and finally cleared the air. He said the real reason they replaced him wasn't about behavior. It was about principles. He wasn't going to fold. He wasn't going to play Hollywood's twisted game just to stay booked. He stood his ground and they didn't like that, so they cut him loose. And he didn't just say it with his chest, he brought some serious wisdom too. He said, "My daddy taught me, never take vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raised no sheep. I raised men. Stay a man." That line right there, that was powerful. Terrence went even deeper, saying that being a man today feels like a curse because the world ain't really built for strong, solid men anymore. He said everything now is being blurred, watered down, androgynous, in his words. He's not just talking about fashion or style, he's talking about identity, about how the industry is trying to erase the essence of what it means to stand firm as a man. Terrence didn't bite his tongue. He kept the pressure on. He straight up said that the men being pushed to the top lately, a lot of them have been made to look soft, even effeminate, and that's not by accident. In another interview, Terrence went even deeper, saying there's a secret agenda in Hollywood to emasculate black men, because powerful, confident black men are seen as a threat. In his own words, he said, "The man has been demonized with the new formula." According to him, most men are now being shaped into something weaker, stripped of their power, their pride, and their strength. He said they let white men keep their strength, but when a black man shows it, suddenly it's a problem. He even added, "I don't want to remove a few chromosomes to fit in someone's story. They need to expand their stories and let men be men while still appreciating a woman's beauty." Whew. Now, with everything Terrence has been saying lately about Diddy and the alleged wildness going on behind closed doors, fans are connecting dots, and it's all starting to make a lot more sense. But the crazy part? That might just be the beginning. Word on the street is that Terrence is actually holding back even more damaging details, stuff that could shake the industry harder than what's already out there. And according to none other than 50 Cent, this next wave of drama centers around Diddy's rumored side piece, Yung Miami. After Terrence's interview went viral, 50 originally said he was gonna sit this one out. He posted, "No comment, staying positive, God help us all." But it looks like he had a change of heart, because now he's out here making wild claims of his own. He's saying there's freak-off footage, actual video, that allegedly shows Yung Miami in some compromising moments. And guess who supposedly took the video? Terrence himself. They say it was recorded at one of those infamous parties he attended. The tape allegedly shows Yung Miami in situations that the internet definitely isn't ready for. But honestly, folks in the streets ain't even surprised. Rumors been flying for a while that Yung Miami knows way more than she's ever let on. And now, with this footage allegedly floating around, it's looking real messy. So let's talk about Yung Miami, because the whispers surrounding her, they're not just about being in the Freakoffs. They're saying she might have actually been helping run them. That's right. Allegedly, she wasn't just a guest. She might have been playing a bigger role behind the scenes. And here's where things get messy. One example that's got people talking is what went down when Diddy's other side piece, Gina Huyn, posted a picture of her and Diddy. The moment that photo hit the internet, Miami allegedly snapped. Word is, she went into a jealous rage and started threatening Gina, even saying she was gonna get Diddy to force her into one of those freak-off parties. The things Miami allegedly said? Wild. She reportedly told Gina, "You've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. Hope you've been crying for a baby for 15 years. You've been around as a BH that D hits when he feels like it. You an eater." She even brought up Gina's emotional interview with Tasha K, mocking her for wanting a baby. And she wasn't done there. She allegedly kept going with, "You wanted a baby? BH? I have a career. Huh, you a certified freak. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards. You miserable over getting rid of babies. Let that hurt go, hun. If I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You a munch." The way she was allegedly bullying Diddy's other women, especially when one of them got pregnant? Dark. And it doesn't stop at insults. According to court documents, one of Diddy's alleged victims, filing under Jane Doe, claims she was coerced into taking substances while staying at Diddy's house. It all went down in July 2022. Jane Doe says she traveled to Diddy's LA home at his request, and once there, she was in his bathroom when she says she was forced to ingest something. She didn't know what it was at the time. Later, she found out the substance contained ketamine or some other drug that made her black out. She said she lost consciousness on and off all night, And when she came to, her body was covered in bruises. She knew something had happened to her while she was out cold. But the most chilling part? She claimed that Diddy would have her perform for him while feeding her alcohol, keeping her dazed and under control. These stories aren't just rumors anymore. They're starting to paint a picture that's way darker than anybody expected. According to the documents, Jane Doe said this terrifying cycle went on and on. She was allegedly fed substances until she blacked out, only to wake up bruised, hurt, and confused with no memory of what went down. And this didn't just happen once or twice. She says it continued all the way up until July of 2024. But it gets even darker. She claimed that during this time, she ended up getting pregnant. And the father? Allegedly Diddy. And the moment that news came out, that's when the alleged bullying began, from none other than Yung Miami. Jane Doe says Miami came for her hard, and the pressure was so intense that she eventually suffered a miscarriage. The court docs laid it out. Jane Doe took a pregnancy test and got a positive result. When she told Diddy, things got even worse. One of his associates, Carla Brownlee, started allegedly harassing her nonstop, calling her repeatedly and telling her to get an abortion. And yes, Carla Brownlee is Yung Miami's real name, y'all. That connection is loud and clear. After the miscarriage, Jane Doe said she cut off all contact with Diddy and his team for about 3 months. But the trauma from what she claims happened didn't just disappear. And honestly, it's not hard to believe she faced that kind of pressure. Remember when Diddy had a baby with another woman back in 2022? Yung Miami completely lost it. She was online going off, throwing shade, and clearly not handling the situation well. And then there's Lil Rod's lawsuit, where things get even wilder. He made disturbing claims that pulled Yung Miami even deeper into the chaos. According to him, she wasn't just another party guest at those Freakoff events. She was more than that, allegedly a silent witness to the madness happening behind closed doors. And worse, he said she had family members involved too. In his updated legal filing, Lil Rod pointed to one specific incident. He claimed that during an event, Diddy was heavily intoxicated and offered him cocaine. When Lil Rod turned it down and went to the restroom, that's when it took a sinister turn. He said Diddy allegedly sent Yung Miami's cousin to follow him. And that cousin allegedly tried to sexually assault him right there at the event. These accusations are serious. And with more names, more connections, and more stories stacking up, it's looking like this situation runs deeper than anyone thought. What's been happening behind those velvet ropes might be far worse than the public ever imagined. According to the lawsuit, things took a shocking turn during one of those wild parties. Lil Rod, real name Rodney Jones, claimed that Yung Miami's cousin burst into a bathroom he was using. And what happened next was straight up disturbing. He says she came in without warning, dropped to her knees, and started performing oral acts on him while he was exposed. Mr. Jones said he pushed her off immediately and left the bathroom. But it didn't stop there. According to him, she followed him out, started taking off her clothes, and even tried to straddle him in front of Diddy and his staff. He believes that this wasn't random. He's convinced Diddy sent her in there to violate him. And all this happened right in front of people who didn't do a thing to stop it. And that's not where it ends. The documents detail another disturbing moment that allegedly went down on Thanksgiving night, 2022, in Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones said Diddy asked him and Forrest Taylor to step into a studio bathroom. Once inside, Diddy allegedly asked them for a $100 bill because he wanted to do nose candy. Jones said he was terrified, but lucky for him, he didn't have a bill on him. So Diddy backed off for the moment. But a little later, he allegedly did the same thing, with Yung Miami instead, and it gets deeper. According to the court filings, Yung Miami wasn't just attending these events, she was allegedly helping Diddy move substances. Lil Rod claimed she would bring him what he needed, no matter where he was. He even named a specific incident. While rehearsing for the Something in the Water Festival in Virginia, he said he personally saw Diddy doing lines in his dressing room. When one of Diddy's people forgot to bring him his stash, Christina Coram allegedly flew it in from Miami. And guess who reportedly helped coordinate it? Yung Miami. But Lil Rod didn't stop there. He also accused her of being a paid companion for Diddy. According to him, she was allegedly getting monthly payments in exchange for certain services. It's not just the drugs. It's not just the freak-offs. These court docs are painting a bigger, more dangerous picture. And the more details that drop, the more names get pulled into the mess. What started as quiet whispers is turning into a full-blown scandal storm. According to the court docs, Yung Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were all allegedly on Diddy's payroll, getting monthly wire transfers for acting as his personal S-workers. The payments reportedly came through Robin Greenhill, which is now being used as evidence of Diddy's ongoing criminal operation. This ain't just hearsay anymore. It's looking real official on paper. And the link between Yung Miami and Diddy? It's not just rumor. It's been repeatedly backed by multiple people now. But the real shocker is the whisper that 50 Cent might have actual footage of Yung Miami caught in 4K. And let's be honest, if there's one person you don't want having receipts on you, it's 50. That man is the king of petty and messy drama. He lives for moments like this. Now, if you know the history, this beef between 50 and Diddy goes way back over 2 decades. So if 50 is sitting on footage and decides to drop it, it's gonna be explosive. Right now, he's staying quiet, but knowing 50, he's just waiting for the perfect moment to set everything off again. At this point, all eyes are on Yung Miami. And with Terrence Howard throwing her name into the mix, the heat just turned all the way up. It's wild how his one interview set off a whole avalanche of drama. And now, she's right back in the headlines. But what do you think about all this? Is Yung Miami being unfairly dragged? Or is there more truth to Terrence's claims than folks want to admit? Let me know in the comments below. Drop 1,000 of them if you're really tapped in, and don't forget to subscribe to DramaDrip, because this tea, it's still steaming and the next video is about to be even hotter.